Have you ever stopped to think about what happens to an actor's life after they land a role that changes everything? Well, some shine even brighter, others fade away. And then there are those who surprise the world with unexpected twists and turns. This is the case with Kang Tae-oh, the actor who charmed millions of people by playing the sweet and passionate Lee Jun-ho in Extraordinary Attorney Woo. He seemed to have reached the peak of his career, receiving love from fans all over the world, starring in commercials and becoming a beloved face not only in South Korea, but also around the world. But the question that remained was, what happened to Kang Tae-oh after this massive success? And that's exactly what we'll discover together in this video. But first, take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear will surprise you. This isn't just the story of a rising actor. It's also a story about difficult choices, unexpected criticism, controversies that spread across social media, personal sacrifices, and of course, how to deal with the pressure of being loved and hated at the same time. Sounds heavy? It might be. But it's also inspiring, moving, and full of lessons that can touch anyone, whether you're a K-drama fan or just curious about the behind the scenes of fame. Imagine for a moment. You land the role of a lifetime, your name explodes in Google searches, your social media following skyrockets, and the whole world starts wanting to know who you are. Now, imagine that, right at that moment, you have to drop everything to serve in the military, disappear from the spotlight, and leave your fans hanging. This shock, which to many seemed like a tragedy, was precisely what marked Kang Tae-oh's life after Extraordinary Attorney Woo, and how he dealt with it is what we'll tell you here, step by step, revealing curiosities, little talked about facts, and details that make his journey even more fascinating. So now you know, right? Stay with me until the end because you'll be amazed by every detail of this journey. And of course, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like, because here you'll always find the most impactful, emotional, and revealing stories in the world of K-drama. Shall we begin? After the phenomenon Extraordinary Attorney Woo, it seemed nothing could stop Kang Tae-oh. He became Korea's sweetheart within months. His face was on billboards, his interviews broke viewership records, and renowned brands competed for his image in advertising campaigns. The public fell in love with the sweet yet strong demeanor of Lee Jun-ho, the character who won Woo Young-woo over, and also the hearts of millions of fans around the world. It was as if the actor's real life was moving at exactly the same pace as the fictional one, full of charm, romance with fame, and promises of a bright future. But then came the shock. At the height of his career, when everyone expected to see him in even more ambitious roles, Kang Tae-oh received the summons no South Korean actor can escape: mandatory military service. And that's when his dream met a harsh reality. Imagine having the spotlight on you, the whole world telling you how incredible you are, and then suddenly having to abandon everything for almost 2 years. It sounds like a drama script, but it was Kang Tae-oh's real life. This moment became a watershed moment. While international fans mourned his hiatus, many Koreans saw the decision as an act of responsibility and maturity. Since in South Korea, service is every man's duty. But at the same time, there was a shadow of doubt. Would he be able to maintain his shine after such a long absence? How many actors have lost their place and returned forgotten? This fear was real, and Tae-oh himself knew it. The contrast between explosive success and the mandatory hiatus created an almost cinematic tension in his trajectory. And it's precisely this mix of glory and uncertainty that makes his story so fascinating. After all, how can someone who reached the top so quickly cope with the idea of having to start all over again? That's the question that will keep you hooked until the end of this video. After the resounding success of Extraordinary Attorney Woo, Kang Tae-oh's life seemed to be on a perfect upward trajectory. He became one of the most talked about actors of 2022, receiving interview invitations, appearing on variety shows, and becoming the face of several advertising campaigns. His character, Lee Jun-ho, won over a legion of fans who identified with his sensitivity and unconditional support for the series' protagonist. Suddenly, Kang Tae-oh went from being just a promising actor to a globally recognized name, with fans from Korea to Brazil. However, amidst this wave of achievements, a reality emerged that would change the course of his career: mandatory military service. In South Korea, all able-bodied men must serve in the army, and Kang Tae-oh was no exception. In September 2022, even at the height of his fame, he had to step away from the spotlight to fulfill this obligation. The news surprised many fans, especially international ones, who were still hoping to see him in new projects immediately after the drama's success. The impact of this hiatus was inevitable. He was in the spotlight, with offers that could have further expanded his career, but he had to put all his plans on hold. This transition from the glitter of the stage and cameras to the rigid routine of the army was a shock not only for the audience but also for the actor himself, who traded the freedom of filming for the duty of serving his nation. This contrast between global fame and sudden retirement marked a turning point in his career. On the one hand, international recognition cemented his image as a star. On the other, the forced hiatus raised uncertainty about his future in the entertainment industry. It was a turning point in which Kang Tae-oh had to balance his personal dreams with the reality of his responsibilities. With the success of extraordinary attorney Kang Tae-oh reached a level of popularity few actors achieve in such a short space of time. His role as Lee Jun-ho was celebrated for conveying lightness, affection, and a sympathetic gaze in a plot marked by challenges and emotions. The chemistry between him and Park Yoon-bin, who plays lawyer Woo Young-woo, was so praised that many viewers believed they were witnessing one of the most memorable couples in K-drama history. But with fame came the first controversies. The actor began to be the target of malicious comments on forums and social media. Some users criticized his appearance, claiming it didn't fit the beauty standards typically demanded by the Korean industry. Others even questioned his talent, saying his success was more linked to the series' popularity than to his performance itself. Although most audiences disagreed with these criticisms, they quickly spread and eventually caught the attention of local media. This wave of negative comments exposed a common reality among South Korean celebrities: the constant pressure to be perfect. Despite being recognized by specialized critics and receiving praise from directors, Kang Tae-oh had to deal with this other side of fame, where every detail of his image was analyzed and discussed. Despite the weight of criticism, the actor chose not to respond directly. He maintained his professional demeanor and continued to show dedication to his work, avoiding controversy. This attitude was seen as mature and further strengthened his connection with his fans, who began publicly defending him on social media. In the end, the controversies didn't diminish his popularity. On the contrary, they helped show that Kang Tae-oh was more than just a pretty face in a hit drama. He proved he could handle pressure and move forward, cementing his image as a resilient actor amid the demands of the industry. In September 2022, at the height of the popularity gained with extraordinary attorney Kang Tae-oh took an inevitable step for any South Korean man, beginning his mandatory military service. The news of his conscription was a shock to many fans, especially international fans who were still hoping to see him in new roles and productions so soon after the series' resounding success. But for the actor, this was a step that could not be postponed. His entry into the army was marked by powerful images that circulated widely. Kang Tae-oh with a shaved head, wearing his military uniform, and saying goodbye to the spotlight that had illuminated his life in the previous months. To those who followed his career, the transition seemed abrupt. In a short time, he went from glamorous photo shoots and interviews to the harsh, disciplined, and silent routine of military life. During his service, he was assigned as an assistant instructor at a training center for new recruits. This position, considered a position of responsibility, demonstrated his dedication and leadership skills. He also participated in official events, including national remembrance ceremonies, reinforcing his image as someone committed to his duties. The hiatus, however, came at a high cost. Kang Tae-oh had to turn down production invitations, interrupt contracts, and put projects that could have further expanded his career on hold. This prolonged absence represented not only distance from the public, but also the risk of losing ground in a highly competitive industry where new talent emerges every season. Despite the sacrifice, many saw his decision as a gesture of responsibility and respect for his country's rules. For Korean fans, completing his military service further increased their admiration for his dedication, cementing the image of an artist who didn't take shortcuts. For international followers, it was a moment of waiting, accompanied by the hope that he would return even stronger after completing this milestone in his life. In March 2024, Kang Tae-oh officially completed his military service and was discharged from his military duties. His return was met with enormous anticipation from both the media and fans. After nearly a year and a half away, everyone was eager to know whether the actor would return as the same young man who left the cameras in 2022, or whether he would return transformed by the intense experience that military life entails. His first public appearances revealed a more mature Kang Tae-oh, with a different attitude than the one the public had known before his hiatus. He himself commented in interviews that his time in the army had changed not only his routine, but also his outlook on life and career. One curious detail caught a lot of attention. The actor revealed that even his MBTI, the personality test so popular among Korean fans, had changed after his military service. This statement generated a stir, as many saw it as proof of how discipline, responsibility, and interaction with other soldiers had influenced his way of thinking. In addition to the personal change, the public also noticed a strengthening of his image. If before he was remembered mainly for the charm and lightness he conveyed in Extraordinary Attorney Woo, many now see him as more centered, with an air of maturity that could open up opportunities for even more diverse roles in the future. His experience in the Army, though difficult, served as a turning point, reinforcing his resilience and expanding his credibility as an actor. The entertainment industry also closely followed this comeback. Producers and directors saw it as an opportunity to bring to the public an artist who had already proven his talent, but now carried even more experience. For fans, it was a moment of reunion and celebration, with the expectation that Kang Tae-oh would enter a new phase of his career, marked by more challenging projects that reflected his growth. With his military service concluding in March 2024, the big question hanging over Kang Tae-oh was, what would be the next steps in his career? An actor's return from the military always carries a heavy burden, as audiences expect a triumphant return, and producers see this as an opportunity to turn that expectation into major projects. Kang Tae-oh's was no exception. Soon after his dismissal, rumors began to surface that he was in talks for new roles. Korean media reported that he had been considered for the lead role in the eight-side production, Potato Research Institute, a drama that attracted attention for its intriguing premise and the anticipation surrounding its casting. The mere fact that her name was associated with high-profile projects demonstrated that the industry hadn't forgotten her talent and that her absence hadn't diminished interest in her career. His return was also accompanied by a wave of support from fans, who eagerly awaited his return to the screen. For them, their anticipation wasn't just about the characters he would play, but also about how his time in the military had shaped his acting and his on-camera presence. Many believed this experience would bring new depth to his roles, expanding his versatility as an actor. From a professional standpoint, Kang Tae-oh now had a bigger challenge, to prove that he could go beyond the enormous success of Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Although Lee Jun-ho's role marked his career and earned him global recognition, there were concerns that he would be trapped in the shadow of his character. This pressure, common among actors who achieve sudden fame, became a central point in his post-military career. At the same time, the return was seen as an opportunity to redefine his image. Previously considered a promising young actor, he could now take on more complex and mature roles, capable of definitively cementing his status as one of the biggest names on South Korean television. Producers and fans shared the same expectation, to see how far Kang Tae-oh could go in a new phase that was just beginning. Despite the enormous recognition achieved with Extraordinary Attorney Woo, Kang Tae-oh's career has also been marked by controversies and challenges that have tested his resilience as an artist. Like many celebrities in South Korea, the actor has had to face the harsh reality that fame brings not only praise, but also a barrage of criticism and judgment. During the series' run, he was the target of malicious comments on online forums, with some users questioning his appearance, claiming it didn't fit the traditional beauty standards for Korean stars. Others even claimed his performance was being overestimated due to the success of the plot and the charisma of his co-star, Park Yoon-bin. These criticisms gained ground in social media debates and sparked unease among fans, who mobilized to defend him. Another significant challenge was switching agencies. After years of contracting with Fantagio, Kang Tae-oh decided not to renew and, in 2020, signed with Man of Creation, MOC. Although the decision was strategic, the transition brought uncertainty about how his career would proceed from then on. Many believed that leaving a major agency would limit his opportunities, but time has shown that he managed to maintain his relevance even after this change. Furthermore, the mandatory break for military service was also seen as a risk. In an extremely competitive market, where new actors debut every season, there was concern that he would be forgotten during his absence. This scenario required Kang Tae-oh not only discipline, but also confidence in his talent and the support of his fans. These episodes highlight that, despite his image as a charismatic and calm actor, Kang Tae-oh also faced pressure and judgment. However, his demeanor has always been marked by discretion and focus on his work, avoiding public provocation. This attitude, rather than diminishing his popularity, has further strengthened the perception of maturity and seriousness he carries as a professional. Kang Tae-oh's journey thus far shows that an actor's career isn't built solely on moments of brilliance. On the contrary, It's marked by ups and downs, sacrifices, and challenges that test not only talent, but also the ability to withstand pressure. His story offers lessons that go beyond the world of entertainment and can inspire anyone who has ever faced obstacles to achieve their dreams. The first major lesson is perseverance. Before achieving international recognition, Kang Tae-oh spent years in smaller roles, accumulating experience and waiting for the right opportunity. This journey shows that success rarely happens overnight. It is the result of continuous effort and patience. Another important lesson is the value of responsibility. Even at the height of his career, when he could have tried to postpone his enlistment, he chose to serve without protest or privileges. This decision reinforced his image of integrity and respect for his country's rules, conveying to his fans a message of maturity and commitment. It's also impossible to ignore how he handled criticism and controversy. Instead of engaging in public debate or fueling controversy, Kang Tae-oh focused on his performance and let his work speak for itself. This discreet approach demonstrated that, often, the best response to criticism is consistency. Finally, his relationship with his family is also an inspiring point. After the success of Extraordinary, Attorney Woo, he revealed that he was able to offer his mother the chance to leave work and rest, a gesture of gratitude that touched fans worldwide. This detail reveals that behind the fame, there is someone who values their roots and doesn't forget where they came from. With these experiences, Kang Tae-oh returns to the spotlight not only as a more mature actor, but as an example of resilience. His journey shows that true success goes beyond awards and popularity. It lies in staying true to personal values, learning from hardships, and never stopping moving forward, even when the path seems uncertain. The story of Kang Tae-oh after Extraordinary Attorney Woo shows how unpredictable an actor's life can be. On the one hand, he achieved one of the greatest successes of his career, garnering international recognition and becoming the beloved face of millions of fans. On the other, he had to face unfair criticism, the pressure of fame, and the challenge of interrupting his career at the height of his powers to fulfill his mandatory military service. This combination of glory and sacrifice transformed his public image and also strengthened him as a human being. Today, looking back on his journey, it's impossible not to notice how each phase played a fundamental role in his evolution. His sudden success demonstrated his ability to move audiences with his performance. The controversies taught him resilience and proved that the negative opinions of some don't define an artist. The army brought discipline and maturity, reinforcing the idea that growing as a person is as important as growing as a professional. And now, his new projects point to a future in which Kang Tae-oh can go even further, exploring roles that showcase other facets of his talent. This mix of achievements and obstacles makes his story deeper than just an actor's journey. It's also a reminder that no success comes without effort, and that even moments of pause can serve as preparation for even greater heights. Kang Tae-oh returns to the spotlight not as the same young man as before, but as someone more aware, prepared, and determined to write new chapters in his career. And that's where I want to invite you to participate. What phase of Kang Tae-oh's career has had the biggest impact on you? Do you believe he will surpass the success of Extraordinary Attorney Woo? Or will this always be the most memorable role of your life? Leave your opinion in the comments below, because I'd love to hear what you think. And of course, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like. This way, you can stay up to date on all the most exciting and revealing stories in the world of K-drama. Kang Tae-oh's path continues, and with it, our curiosity and admiration too.